Good morning, students. Here we come up with another lecture of general anatomy, and this is classification of bones. So therefore, classification of bones of human body. Now, in the classification of bones of human body, we classify the bones according to three different categories. Now, these three different categories will be: number one, the first category of classification will be totally based upon its position. So therefore, depending upon the position of the bones of the human body, we classify into two different categories. First is appendicular and second will be axial. Appendicular bones and axial bones, depending upon the position. Second category of classification will be depending upon their pattern of ossification. So therefore, depending upon ossification centers, the bones can be classified into three general categories depending upon the centers of ossification. And ossification means process of bone formation, that is called ossification. So therefore, depending upon ossification, we will have membrane bones. The process of their ossification is called intramembranous ossification. Second will be cartilage bones, and the process of ossification in cartilaginous bones is called endochondral ossification. Third, membranocartilaginous bones. In membranocartilaginous bones, these bones will have both the centers of ossification, membranous as well as cartilaginous. So a part of the bone will develop in membrane and a part of bone will also develop in cartilage. Such bones are called membranocartilaginous bones. Third pattern of classification, third group of classification of the human bones will be depending upon the size of the bone, depending upon its length, the size, the shape. So totally depending upon the size and the shape of the bone, we classify this, depending upon the size and the shape of the bone, we classify this into various categories. Very interesting. They are, first, the long bones, the short bones, then we have the flat bones, long bones, short bones, flat bones, then we have irregular bones, then we have pneumatic bones, then we have sesamoid bones, and last we have accessory bones. So in the last, I will write down here accessory bones. Now remember, all these bones, now we are going to provide example of each and every variety. They are asked in MCQs in 1 mark question answer. Long bones, short bones, flat bones, irregular bones, pneumatic bones, then sesamoid bones and accessory bones. One example will provide, and they are often asked in MCQs. Once again I am repeating. So therefore, this is the general pattern of classification of the bones. Whenever you are asked this question, classify the bones of human body. How many bones are there in human body? Approximately 206. But this number may vary. It is varying in different individuals, but approximate average is 206. So how do you classify the bones in the human body? Based upon position, based upon ossification center, and based upon the size and the shape of the bone. Now we start with, give examples. Examples are very important because these examples will provide you an outlet window for 1 mark question answer or for MCQs. And even if you are asked a short note, write a short note on classification of the bones. When you classify in a tabular format in this manner, you have to provide examples for each and every bones. Otherwise, your classification is incomplete. So therefore, here, depending upon the position, we categorize the entire skeleton, human skeleton, into axial and appendicular. So in case of appendicular, the appendicular will start with upper limb bones and shoulder girdle. The entire shoulder girdle and upper limb bones. So therefore, shoulder girdle and upper limb bones. And second variety will be, obviously in appendicular skeleton, second will be the pelvic girdle and lower limb bones. Pelvic girdle and lower limb bones. Here we finish our first category depending upon the position. Axial skeleton, appendicular. Appendicular skeleton, the shoulder girdle along with upper limb bones, and in appendicular skeleton again pelvic girdle and lower limb bones. So appendicular part is over. Now axial. In axial part, axial skeleton. What is axial skeleton? It consists of skull bones along with vertebral column, along with ribs, along with sternum. So skull bones, the vertebral column, the ribs and sternum, they constitute the axial skeleton. So therefore, first part is over. Now second, ossification. In ossification, those bones which ossify in membrane, they are called membrane bones. So example of membrane bones will be, they are the bones of the vault of the skull. The bones of the vault of the skull. For example, parietal bones of the skull. And along with the bones of the vault of the skull, there will be a part of facial bones and norma frontalis, the anterior view of the skull. Whatever bones you see, they are a part of facial skeleton. So those facial bones, they will also ossify from membrane bones. So facial bones. Second, cartilaginous bones. Example, cartilaginous bones are all the bones of the upper and lower limb. So all the long bones of upper limb as well as lower limb, they come under the category of cartilaginous bones. Third, membranocartilaginous. Membranocartilaginous, a part of the bone ossifies from membrane as well as from the cartilage. So membranocartilaginous bones are mostly situated at the base of the skull. So what are those bones which are situated at the base of the skull? Give example. They are sphenoid, along with that mandible, along with that temporal bone, along with that occipital bone, and very important bone, clavicle also. Clavicle also is included here. So these are the examples of membranocartilaginous bones. Here we complete our second classification based upon ossified or ossification centers, how the bones ossify. So this second pattern of classification is over. Now third pattern. Third pattern is depending upon the size and shape. Very interesting third pattern. First is long bones. Please come on this side. We'll take over here long bones. So in case of long bones, they are categorized into three subcategories. Long bones are categorized into three subcategories. The first category will be the typical long bones. Second category will be short long bones or miniature long bones. So it is called the short long bones, or it is called miniature long bones. Third category, this question is also so many times asked as 1 mark question answer or in Viva also. And third category of long bones will be, it is known as the modified long bones. Please try and understand these 3 subcategories of long bones. Very interesting, you have to remember this. Example, typical long bones. Typical long bones are all the long bones of the upper limb and lower limb. Femur, humerus, radius, ulna, tibia, fibula. They are typical long bones. And typical long bones are those bones where it will have 1 primary center and 2 secondary centers of ossification. So therefore they are typical long bones, or the bones of all the bones of the upper and lower limb. Typical long bone, where it has 1 primary center and 2 secondary centers of ossification. Second category is short long bones, or they are called miniature long bones. Very interesting, they are metacarpals and metatarsals. So all the metacarpals and metatarsals, they belong to this category, short long bones. Now here, one question which is very frequently asked in MCQs will be, all the metacarpals and metatarsals will have this 1 center of ossification only. They ossify from 1 center. And that ossification center will be located at their heads. All metacarpals and metatarsals, their ossification centers will be located at their head, respective head, except first metacarpal and first metatarsal. Please note it down. The first metacarpal and first metatarsal, their centers of ossification will be at the base. This is asked in MCQ. Once again I repeat, all the metacarpals and metatarsals, their centers of ossification will be at their heads, except the first metacarpal and first metatarsal, where the centers of ossification will be at the base. Third category, third subcategory, that is modified long bone. Very strong example. Modified long bone consists of clavicle. Because clavicle is the long bone which is placed in a horizontal position in human body. It is the long bone which will transmit the weight from upper limb to axial skeleton, and it has so many other features of a long bone. Therefore, this clavicle is placed under the category of a modified long bone. Along with clavicle, another modified long bone which is placed in the category will also be known as the vertebrae. So vertebrae also comes under the category of modified long bone. Then we come across to, after the long bones, we come across to short bones. Now in the short bones, what are short bones? These short bones, they are those bones which will ossify from one ossification center, and all the short bones, they will have their ossification after birth. They will start their ossification after birth. So therefore, example of short bones will be all the tarsal bones and carpal bones. So all the tarsal and carpal bones, they are called short bones, and they will start their ossification after birth. Except, this is very important, this is an MCQ question, except certain bones which will start their ossification before birth. Which are they? They are calcaneus, talus and cuboid. The calcaneus, talus and cuboid bones, which are the tarsal bones of the foot, they will start their ossification before birth. Remaining all the tarsal bones and all the carpal bones will start their ossification after birth. They are short bones. Please note down this. Calcaneus, talus and cuboid, they will start their ossification before birth, and remaining all the tarsal and carpal bones, they will start their ossification after birth. After this, After finishing long and short bones, we come to flat bones. So in the flat bones, what are basically flat bones? Flat bones are, they will have two layers of compact bone, and in between there is a spongy bone and marrow tissue. This spongy bone has diploid tissue also, diploid veins also. So therefore, outer and inner layer of compact bone, in between you have diplo, or in between you have spongy bone with marrow. This is the constituent feature of flat bone. Examples are very important. So can you name the flat bones in the human body? The flat bones in human body, where such type of characteristic features are there, they are the vault of the skull, bones of the vault of the skull. Along with that, they are the ribs, sternum, they are the flat bones. Even scapula. Scapula is a type of flat bone. These are the examples of flat bones. After flat bones, we come to irregular bones. What are the irregular bones? Irregular bones are, they will have one layer of compact bone, and below they will have spongy tissue along with marrow. So therefore, such bones, they will be irregular in shape, in appearance. Give examples, very important. Examples of irregular bones will be, these irregular bones are the hip bone. Hip bone is one of the strong example of irregular bone. Along with that, vertebrae, they are irregular bones. Now we come to, after finishing irregular bones, we come to pneumatic bones. So in pneumatic bones, these bones are developed as a diverticulum from the nasal cavity. Mucus lining pouches, they develop as diverticulum from nasal cavity, and they develop into various air-filled cavities, and such bones are called pneumatic bones. They will have air-filled spaces, air-filled cavities within, and they are present around the nasal cavity. Such bones, pneumatic bones, for example, frontal, maxilla, ethmoid, sphenoid, they are pneumatic bones where they have air-filled cavities. Examples, these are the bones which are present around nasal cavity, and I have discussed with you, name those bones, frontal bones, the frontal bone, the maxilla, the sphenoid, the ethmoid. They are belonging to this pneumatic category. Why these bones are present? They are present because of, they make the skull lighter in weight, they add resonance to the voice, and at the same time, they will also be able to present a very, very lighter amount of weight. So therefore, these are the pneumatic bones. After pneumatic bones, we come to the most important category, very important. And that category I will write here only, sesamoid bones. Now, very often sesamoid bones is asked as an individual short note also. Write a short note on sesamoid bones. What you need to write down is, first the definition. Sesamoid bones, they are the bones which develop within the tendon of the muscles. Second point, in Arabic the word sesame means seed. Third point, they develop at those places in the tendon where the tendons are subjected to friction. Fourth point, they will ossify after birth. Very important. Next point, they do not have presence of Next point, once again, they develop in the tendon of muscles. And next point, they are devoid of periosteum. All these points are important. They are having absence of eversion system, they do not have periosteum, they develop in the tendon of other muscles, and they will ossify after birth. Here we complete the definition and characteristic features of sesamoid bones. Now examples. Examples are very important. Sesamoid bone. We start with our first example. Very important. These examples are asked in MCQs also. Patella, the largest sesamoid bone. And you have to mention, patella develops in the tendon of quadriceps femoris muscle. So patella in quadriceps femoris. Number 2, pisiform bone. It will develop in the tendon of flexor carpi ulnaris. Third, fibula. Fibula. It develops in the lateral head of gastrocnemius muscle. Fibula. Fourth, rider's bone. And this rider's bone will develop within the tendon of adductor longus muscle. Fifth, I will write fifth here. At the base of first metatarsal, where the tendon of flexor hallucis brevis is present. So, at the base of first metatarsal or below the first metatarsal, where tendon of flexor hallucis brevis is present. And sixth, at the cuboid bone, where the tendon of peroneus longus is present. These are the 6 important sites which are also asked as MCQs also. They are present as sesamoid bones in human body. Remember these 6 different sites, very, very important. And now, after finishing long bones, short bones, flat bones, irregular bones, pneumatic bones, sesamoid bones, last category we come to accessory bones. Now, these accessory bones, please note down, they are present usually in the region of the skull, and they are present as an example of sutural bones. They are called sutural bones, or they are called Wormian bones, W-O-R-M-I-N, or they are called interparietal bones. They are present between the sutures. And why they develop is because they have that extra center of ossification. Because of extra center of ossification, they are accessory bones. Example, once again I will repeat, sutural bones or Wormian bones they are known as, or interparietal bones. Here these accessory bones are present, and when they are present in any human being, they can be confused with extra, or they can be confused with the fracture of any bone in case of X-rays. So whenever X-rays are taken around these bones, when these bones are present in the human body, they are often confused as fractured bones. But they are basically not fractured bones, but they are accessory bones where they have developed because of extra center of ossification. Example, once again I repeat, sutural bones or Wormian bones or interparietal bones present in the skull. So here we finished the classification of the bones, but coming up in next segment will be very important to learn that long bones, the parts of long bones which I will discuss with you in the next segment.